I've never shared this story publicly or online before, and honestly, I'm a little nervous. But staring at the ceiling, and it's like, I see Jesus still. But what happens next, I have no earthly idea. Can't believe this. I've never shared this story publicly or online before, and honestly, I'm a little nervous. But this is the story of how Jesus took me to heaven when I was 10 years old. I feel the Holy Spirit so strongly right now, and honestly, I'm also so nervous because this is honestly such a pearl in my life that has marked me to this day 15 years later. I don't know where to exactly start with this, but yeah, I get emotional every time I talk about this, so please just give me a little bit of grace and leeway here. But when I was 10 years old, this was like the year. And I've always, I walked with the Lord from a young age. I saw dreams and visions. I read my Bible and journaled every day. My parents were pastors. I lived on a ministry bus for some time just from their travels. But when I became 10 years old, this was the year that God really started speaking to me more like an adult, right? And I remember the Lord speaking to me that year that this is going to be the year that I tell you why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing with your life. Little did I know that years prior, the Lord spoke to my mother that when the boy turns 10, you'll discover his calling. Something along those lines. She could tell you verbatim. So there's one night, just like any other, I go to bed. And what happens next? It's like when Paul says, in or out of the body, I do not know. I really don't. I know that at one point I was asleep. But what happens next, I have no earthly idea. So I look at myself, or actually I don't look at myself yet, I'm sorry. I wake up and I set up to get out of bed, feet on the ground. And it's like I see myself in the third person and then the second person point of view, and I'm looking at myself. And I watch myself stand up. And something that's taken me years to even describe happens. And it's like this cylinder tube that just goes up into the air through the roof in this log cabin that I live in. It's like a translucent rainbow emerald tube. And then all of a sudden I get sucked and raptured through it. And I just go through the roof. I go through the sky and the clouds, the stratosphere, the atmosphere. And all of a sudden I'm in space and I see the earth. I'm flying past stars and planets. And then I'm even further. I can't even see the earth anymore. I'm seeing planets that I don't even know what they are. And then all of a sudden I go past that realm and I'm in the throne room in heaven. And I look up and there's so much light. There's so much light in the room. And I'm like, why can't I can barely see? It's so bright. Because it's like if I held a flashlight out and you were trying to see my hand right here, okay? You're only going to see the silhouette of my hand, and it's going to look dark because the light behind it is so much brighter. And that's how everything was. It was almost blinding, but not in a painful or even an annoying way. It just was. And I'm like, where's this light coming from? And I turn and I see the throne. And I realize I'm in the throne room. This knowing enters my spirit. I'm in the throne room and I see this bright light shining from behind the throne. And it's so bright that I can only make out the silhouette of this man that's sitting on the throne. And it was Jesus. It was Jesus. And I still see it. Even when I recall it, it's like I'm back there again. And I'm looking at Jesus and I'm just in awe. It's nothing that I've ever seen before. I've seen glimpses, I've felt glimpses of what I'm feeling in this moment, but I've never seen the fullness of what I'm seeing now. And it's like even though I couldn't see his eyes, it's like I could feel it. I can't describe it. It's like I would just look into the silhouette of what I saw, and it's like I could still feel his fiery eyes looking into my blue ones. And this is all that I remember that he said to me. He said, Joshua, you're not going to remember anything of what we talk about today. He said something like that. You're not going to remember anything we talk about today. But when I bring you back, you will. And then it's like my memory pressed pause, and then it pressed played, and all of a sudden the conversation was over. And I knew, out of just this knowing in my heart, mind, my spirit, my soul, that we talked for 30 minutes. So vividly, I just had this knowing, like, oh yeah, we just talked for 30 minutes. One day, I'm going to know what we talked about when I come back here. And then this little blonde girl in this sundress comes up and takes my right hand, looks up and smiles at me. And she leads me by the hand. And I'm like, I don't want to go from here. I don't want to go for the throne room. I'm talking to Jesus. What do you mean? And then it's just like something in me just was like, go. So I let her take me. She was like giving me some like tour of where we were, heaven. And then this older man, and I'll break down like, probably the theological explanation of why there's an old guy in heaven, like when I get done telling the story. But this older man, and like, a baseball cap, and I think he wore some glasses, some jean overalls, and a little bit like hunched over, like taller than me. He comes up on my left side and he smiles at me, just nods like he's been waiting to see me. And we go on, and there's so many things that I can't remember. There's things also that aren't even permissible to say, like Paul says. And I don't share any of this in pride. I just felt led to finally make a video about this. And the only thing I did see that I do feel like it's okay to talk about is I looked over, and the first thing they showed me, I don't know what this was. And it's like my third dimensional mind, I can't even encapsulate. I can't even tell you what it necessarily looked like. But I remember just seeing, it looked like these old Jerusalem style buildings, and there's all these inhabitants and people going in and out of it. And I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the sky, and the oranges are more orange than anything you've ever seen. The violets and just the reds and everything, they're just more beautiful than anything you would ever see on earth. And still, my vision is slightly clouded because the light is so bright, and it's all coming from the same direction we just walked from, which was the throne room. It's coming from Jesus, because he is the sun. He is light. He is. And so it's like everything is still kind of shadowed out from this giant beam of light that's just illuminating everything. But I'm seeing like these Jerusalem style houses, and even the way they're set up, like I can't even tell you in a 3D format what it looked like. What I saw, I can't even explain. I don't even know how to help you understand what I'm saying right now. It was some interstellar type stuff. But then we go on from there. And there's some things I do remember, and there's a lot of things I don't and wish I did, and I'll know again someday. And then I woke up again, and I'm just laying in bed, 10-year-old me. I'm staring at the ceiling, smiling, teary-eyed. And I laid there for, I think it was 3 hours, just staring at the ceiling, smiling. And after about an hour and a half of me laying there, my mom comes into the room and she says, Josh, what are you doing? And I'm just like, Mom, I saw Jesus. Then she's asking me about it. It's just like, I can't say anything but Jesus over and over. His eyes, Mama. His light, Mama. He's so beautiful, Mama. And I'm just staring at the ceiling. And it's like, I see Jesus still. She lays there with me, and I'm literally just laying still for 3 hours staring at the ceiling, thinking about Jesus. And to this day, sometimes I just sit back, and when I think about it, it's just like, man, that was him. It's him, and I feel him right now. When I recall this, it's like I'm there right now. When I see him, like in my mind's eye, it's like I see him right now. It's not just like a memory. It's like he's there, he's here, he's everywhere, he's omnipresent. Oh gosh. And that marked me to this day. And I don't know how long this video has been, but I think I'm going to make a part two because there was a lot of revelation that took years to unpeel. Like, who was the little girl? Who was the older man? What did some of this stuff mean? What was the emerald cylinder that I got like beamed up and raptured through? What was that about? And it's literally like to this day, I still get revelation. It's like an onion you peel back or a thread that you pull to a blanket. And there's like still like revelation, things that the Holy Spirit reveals like to me. And I'd love to share some of that. If you want a part two of what happened next, or if you want to hear some of the other stories that I have, because this wasn't the only time, especially as a kid, let me know in the comments below.